Imagine a clock. Not the one on your wall, but a clock that measures the lifespan of civilization. On this clock, the United States has existed for a few minutes. The Internet has existed for a mere split second. Now, think about the Pantheon in Rome. It was built nearly 2,000 years ago, before the invention of the computer, before the steam engine. Yet it stands today holding the record for the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world. Now look at the bridge you drive over to get to work. Modern engineering tells us that concrete has a design life. We build things with a planned expiration date. While Roman structures refuse to die, our modern world is already crumbling. We have traded forever for right now. We calculate exactly when our buildings will fail, consciously choosing speed over eternity. Somewhere along the timeline of history, we lost the intuition of the masters. We entered a dark age of construction, where the ancient secrets of the earth were simply forgotten. We are left standing at a crime scene, looking at the ruins of a future we haven't even finished building yet. 1st century AD. The Roman Empire is at its peak. They aren't just conquering land, they are conquering the ocean itself, building massive harbors that defy the salt and the tide. But the ocean is a relentless acid. It eats metal and rots wood. By all laws of nature, these Roman piers should have been dust 1,000 years ago. In 2017, geologists drilled into these ancient ruins. They expected to find decay. Instead, they found that the concrete was actually growing stronger with every passing century. Deep inside the stone, they found microscopic crystals knitting the cracks together. It was a material that was, in a sense, alive. The Romans had cheated entropy. They didn't fight the ocean, they used the seawater to trigger a self-healing mechanism that repaired the structure from within. How did they find this formula? They combined the raw power of volcanoes with the simple intuition of the master mason. Fast forward to the industrial age. We invented Portland cement, the gray sludge that makes up 99% of our modern world. It was born in factories, built for speed and mass production. But modern concrete is inert. It's dead. It has no way to respond to the world around it. Once it hardens, the clock starts ticking towards its inevitable failure. When the rains come, they don't feed the concrete, they invade it. Water enters the cracks and begins the slow process of destruction. To make our structures tall, we hid a skeleton of steel inside, a deal with the devil that gave us height but guaranteed our downfall. We call it concrete cancer. The steel rusts, expands, and shatters the building from the inside out. We are building our cities on a foundation of expanding iron. We have built a world on a subscription model. We don't own our cities, we're just renting them from nature until the warranty expires. Their secret ingredient was something that looked like garbage. They called it Pozzolana, a simple volcanic ash found in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius. We found ancient texts showing that the Romans didn't just use whatever was nearby. They had a massive logistics network, shipping specific types of volcanic ash all across the Mediterranean. But the ash was only half the story. The Romans liked it hot. They used hot mixing, adding quicklime in its most unstable, dangerous form directly into the mix. When you mix quicklime with water, it boils. The mixture reaches temperatures that would melt skin. This intense heat is a high-energy chemical reaction, captured in stone. This heat allows the volcanic ash to bond with the lime on a molecular level. It's not just a recipe, it's an ancient alchemy that creates a rock harder than the mountains it came from. This reaction leaves behind tiny undissolved lumps. We call them lime clasts. For centuries, we thought they were mistakes. In reality, they are the secret to the Roman miracle. The fall of Rome wasn't just a political collapse. It was a technological lobotomy. Imagine if tomorrow the internet went dark and every textbook on how to build a microchip simply vanished. When the empire fell, the supply chains broke. The ships carrying the volcanic ash stopped sailing. The roads began to crumble, roads built to last longer than the empire itself. Construction didn't stop, but the knowing did. When the master builders died without apprentices who understood the chemistry, the intuition died with them. The kilns stopped burning at the necessary temperatures. People went back to using mud and stone. They lived among ruins they could no longer explain, let alone replicate. Even the great Vitruvius became a mystery. He wrote for his peers, assuming they already knew the how. We had the recipe, but we had lost the tongue to read it. For 1,500 years, we looked at the Pantheon and thought it was built by gods. We entered the long silence, a dark age of construction that lasted over a millennium. Fast forward to England 1824. The Industrial Revolution is screaming for speed. We didn't need buildings to last 2,000 years. We needed factories, and we needed them yesterday. Enter a bricklayer named Joseph Aspdin. He patents Portland cement in his kitchen stove, a new refined powder for a new refined age, predictable, industrial, and fast. But Portland cement had one superpower: speed. It allowed us to build an entire city in the time it took the Romans to build a single temple. We didn't rediscover the Roman secret. We invented a faster, cheaper, and completely inert version. We traded the living rock for a dead sludge. By the 1900s, we threw steel bars inside to reach for the stars. We call it reinforced concrete. But steel is a ticking time bomb hidden inside the gray mass. We built a civilization that looks invincible, but is rotting from the moment the ribbon is cut. We built our castles on a foundation of rust and temporary convenience. Think about the Golden Gate Bridge. It requires a crew of painters that never stops. As soon as they finish, they have to go back to the very beginning. This is the invisible tax of modern construction. We build things that require constant, expensive care just to keep them from falling apart. In the United States alone, the cost of maintaining crumbling infrastructure is estimated at trillions of dollars. It is a debt we can never fully pay off. We are like a hamster on a wheel, spending all our energy just to stay in the same place while our bridges and dams slowly crack under the pressure. The Romans built assets that lasted millennia. We build liabilities that we will pass on as a burden to our children and grandchildren. What happens when the design life of our entire world expires at the same time? We are reaching the end of the warranty for the modern age. Modern cement production is responsible for 8% of all global carbon emissions. If the cement industry were a country, it would be the third largest emitter on Earth. To make it, we must scar the earth, mining millions of tons of limestone and heating it to temperatures that rival the heart of a volcano. We are burning the planet to build cities that will fall apart in 60 years. It is a cycle of heat and waste that we cannot sustain. This is the definition of industrial insanity: build, demolish, repeat. Every time we rebuild, we extract more from an exhausted Earth. True sustainability isn't about recycling, it's about building something once and never having to build it again. The Romans understood this, we chose to forget. We talk about green buildings, but we live in the eternal now, obsessed with the speed of construction, while ignoring the cost of the aftermath. Imagine you were a builder today. You are rewarded for how fast and cheap you can finish a project. The long-term durability is someone else's problem. We build for the return on investment. If a building lasts 50 years, it's a success in a spreadsheet, even if it's a failure in the eyes of history. An ancient architect planted trees he would never see reach maturity. He built for the citizens of 1,000 years in the future. Our economic charts only go up, but they are built on a fragile timeline. We have traded the depth of time for the height of the skyscrapers. If you compare a Roman wall to a modern one, you aren't just looking at different materials, you are looking at two different philosophies of existence. We are gambling with our legacy, tossing a coin and hoping that new is always better than eternal, but the coin is starting to fall. But in labs across the world, scientists are finally looking back. They are using high-tech microscopes to study the mistakes of the Roman masons. They discovered that those tiny lime clasts aren't accidents. They are tiny reservoirs of healing power waiting for a crack to form so they can react and seal the wound. When water enters a Roman crack, it triggers the lime to recrystallize. The stone wakes up and repairs itself, stronger than it was before the break. We are learning that the answers to our most modern problems, sustainability and durability, were written in the dust of ruins 2,000 years ago. Construction sites of the future might look a lot more like the workshops of the past, using volcanic ash and the power of hot mixing once again. The alchemists are returning. We are finally learning how to create a living rock that can survive the test of time without the help of man. The Roman wall teaches us a lesson in anti-fragility. Some things break under stress. Other things stay the same, but the best things grow stronger. Modern concrete is fragile, it breaks. Natural stone is robust, it resists. But Roman concrete is anti-fragile, it thrives on the very waves that try to destroy it. The seawater that rots our steel is the very catalyst that grows the crystals in the Roman pier. It is a material that uses the chaos of the world to its advantage. History is a filter. It washes away everything that is fragile and leaves behind only what has the strength to endure the storm. We have been taught to fear the storm, but the Roman ruins stand as a reminder that we can build things that are radiant and defiant amidst the chaos. To master the future, we must first master the endurance of the past. We must learn to build things that don't just survive, but prevail. Stand in the center of the Pantheon and look up at the oculus. You are looking at a 2,000-year-old miracle of engineering and faith. When you touch that stone, you aren't just touching a wall. You are touching a bridge across time, a connection to a mind that thought in centuries, not seconds. The ancient is more real than the new. It has passed the ultimate test. It is the solid ground in a world of shifting sand and gray sludge. The hourglass of our modern construction methods is running out, but we have a choice. We can stop building for the now and start building forever. The road back to eternity is paved with the wisdom we once threw away. It is a straight path to a future that actually lasts. If you want to build for today, use steel, but if you want to build for the end of time, use the rock.